Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode from DGMZ. As you can notice, I'm back to the old original recording studio, so I'm really hoping there will be no audio issues and you will have a clear, crisp recording to enjoy. For all the returning viewers, we welcome you back. Thank you so much for joining us again. And for all the new viewers who have tuned into the podcast for the first time, welcome to the DGMZ family. We are very glad that you discovered us and decided to tune in and explore the podcast. As always, for the new viewers, my strong recommendation would be to check out the introduction episode because it will give you a good insight into the motivation and objective behind this podcast. Also, for your awareness, we have two playlists. One playlist consists of these weekend episodes where we pick one ghazal from Diwan-e-Ghalib and share personal impressions around it every weekend. The second playlist is focused on other topics, still related to Mirza, still related to Urdu poetry, sometimes events at DGMZ, but all in all, not the ghazal impressions. So explore both the playlists and go through the episodes posted and access whatever interests you. Now, if you had followed the previous two episodes, you would know that currently we are in the 14th ghazal from Diwan-e-Ghalib. This was a fairly long ghazal, and we already have had two previous episodes, part 1 and part 2. And today we are planning to finish the ghazal where we will cover the last remaining 3 verses or Sher. And then next week we pick up ghazal 15. So as we always do, I read the entire ghazal in an episode, and I have already done that in part 1, ghazal 14 part 1. So if you want to access the entire narration, feel free to tune into the first part. Today I'm only going to narrate the last 3 verses, couplets or Sher we are going to get into in this episode. So here it is. क्यों अंधेरी है शबे गम, है बलाओं का नज़ूल. क्यों अंधेरी है शबे गम, है बलाओं का नज़ूल. आज उधर ही को रहेगा दीदाए अख्तर खुला. क्या रहूं गुर्बत में खुश, जब हो हवादिस का ये हाल. क्या रहूं गुर्बत में खुश, जब हो हवादिस का ये हाल. नामा लाता है वतन से, नामा बार अक्सर खुला. मक्तर्ज किया है. उसकी उम्मत में हूँ, उसकी उम्मत में हूँ मैं, मेरे रहें क्यों काम बंद. उसकी उम्मत में हूँ मैं, मेरे रहें क्यों काम बंद. वास्ते जिस शह के गुंबदे बेदर खुला. So, yeah, those are the last 3 couplets for this ghazal, and very powerful, packed with lot of history, packed with lot of stories. We really enjoy getting into the background context, background stories at DGMZ. That's how we roll here. So I look forward to sharing those stories with you, and hopefully you look forward to listening to them. So Let's dive into it. पहला शेर लेते हैं, द फर्स्ट कपलेट. क्यों अंधेरी है शबे गम, है बलाओं का नज़ूल, आज उधर ही को रहेगा दीदाए अख्तर खुला. So let's quickly do an approximate translation, right? क्यों अंधेरी है शबे गम? Why is this night full of sorrow so dark? है बलाओं का नज़ूल. It seems there is almost a continuous rainfall or descent from the heavens above of calamities, misfortunes. Balaon is calamities, misfortunes. Nuzul is descent, something coming down from the heavens, either continuously or once, but something descending from the heavens above. And then the second line, Aaj udhar hi ko rahega. Today it seems it will be on that side. Didae akhtar khula. What? The gaze or the sight of the star of fortune. So simply put, today the gaze of this star of fortune will be that side, which by extension means it will not be this side, which is my side. So that's the approximate translation of this couplet. Now, if you've been following this ghazal, you will remember that there is a beautiful Sher, pehla Sher actually, right? The नहीं, दूसरा शेर. दूसरा शेर इस गज़ल का जो था, लेट मी क्विकली रीड इट फॉर यू. शब हुई फिर अंजुम-ए-रखशिंदा का मंजर खुला, इस तकल्लुफ से कि गोया बुत-कदे का दर खुला. सो ऑफ कोर्स इस पूरे शेर का आई हैव डन द ट्रांसलेशन. we've discussed the impression in part 1. So I'm not going to repeat all of that. If you want to access it, you can in the first part. But for this episode, what I wanted to highlight was that is शेर में you can make out how much reverence, how much anticipation, how much awe Ghalib held for this night scene, right, which he compares to almost as if there is a temple door which very slowly, with lot of reverence and respect and जिसे कहते हैं ना सलीका, opens to display something very pure, very beautiful, very extraordinary, majestic, out of this world, right? So Ghalib is comparing the night sky in this couplet, to the opening of temple doors. That's the amount of reverence he held for the night sky filled with stars, or filling with stars one by one, right? And अब इस बात को मद्देनज़र रखते हुए अगर आप ये वाला शेर पढ़ें तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि you can understand his sorrow, his sense of loss in this couplet where he says, why is this sorrow-filled night so dark? Why is it so dark? As it is, I am filled with sorrow. For me, this night is filled with sorrow. And it's almost a double whammy that it is so dark, there's not even a single star in the sky. Almost seems as if Ghalib is saying, अगर आसमान में तारे होते तो उनको देख के उनसे थोड़ी हिम्मत ले लेता शायद, या थोड़ी देर के लिए तसल्ली मिल जाती कुछ. बट रात गम से तो भरी है ही, अंधेरे से भी भरी है. It just makes it even more painful. It just makes it even more distressing. एंड ऐसा लगता है कि क्या क्यों अंधेरी है शब गम, एक सवाल पूछते हैं. He asks a question, why is this sorrow-filled night so dark? And then goes on to answer it. है बलाओं का नज़ूल, because there is a descent, there is a rain of calamities and misfortunes from the heavens above. That is why the sky, this night sky, is so dark, so ominous. So, yeah, so dark and ominous. तो सवाल पूछते हैं और जवाब दे देते हैं. Now, what I wanted to get into in this Sher was something very interesting. So यहाँ पर जो लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल किया गया, this word that has been used, नज़ूल, this is not a normal word, right? In many religions and their religious texts, in different ways, this essence of God raining blessings on you when He's happy and raining calamities and misfortunes on you when He's angry is a very common theme. We know of it in Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, many religions. That's the transaction from heaven to earth done by God is a common theme. And यहाँ पर जो बात हो रही है नज़ूल की, so ये जो word है ये commonly use होता है for this type of scenario. And the most common use is Nuzul al-Quran, because it is believed in Islam that the descent of the holy book of Quran happened from heaven to earth. And is descent को नज़ूल उल कुरान कहते हैं, the descent of Quran from heaven to earth. It is believed that God, Allah, sent down Quran as a revelation to His prophets from heaven to earth. And the holy month of Ramadan in Islam, it has many virtuous names, and one of the names is month of Al-Quran. That is, this was the month when Quran descended from heaven to earth. And it was revealed to be a guide for the entire humanity, with clear proofs of guidance and standards that can help people distinguish between good and wrong. So, Nuzul usually, especially in Islam, in the first instance, this is what it will bring to your mind: a blessing, something spiritual, a guidance that descended from heaven to earth by God, by extension Allah, right? It descended. So this is the first thing that comes to mind if you are practicing Islam, if you are close to Islam, if you know of Islam, right? And then in contrast, you see how Ghalib uses it in his Ghazal. And this was, again, I will not belittle it by calling it style. I will say this was his caliber, right? To draw attention to the contrast between how things were for other people and how they were for him. So ये नज़ूल जो हर मुसलमान के लिए ख्याल लाता है एक बहुत खूबसूरत, एक बहुत बरकत वाली चीज़ का, गालिब के लिए नज़ूल जो लफ्ज़ है वो है रेफरिंग टू कैलामिटीज़, टू मिसफॉर्चून्स, बलाएँ, all kind of misfortune, all kind of bad luck, all kind of pain and grief and misery. So बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट को समझें नज़ूल के, जस्ट टू अप्रिशिएट द कंट्रास्ट ही इज़ ट्राइंग टू ड्रॉ व्हेन ही सेज क्यों अंधेरी है शबे गम है बलाओं का नज़ूल. लकी लोगों के लिए, नॉर्मल लोगों के लिए रात में तारे भरे होते हैं, और अगर नज़ूल होता है किसी चीज़ का तो बरकतों का होता है खुदा की तरफ से. और एक मैं हूँ जिसकी रातों में तारे भी नहीं हैं. गम से भरी रात अब अंधेरे से भी भर गई, और नज़ूल हो रहा है तो इन बलाओं का हो रहा है. So I just thought that story kind of gives a good context, and it's not only Ghalib. उर्दू पोइट्री में नज़ूल को यूजुअली एक नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन के साथ शायर यूज़ करते हैं, जस्ट लाइक गालिब, टू ड्रॉ इन द कंट्रास्ट, राइट, द हेवी कंट्रास्ट बिटवीन यूजुअली हाउ इट इज़ एंड दिस इज़ हाउ इट इज़ फॉर मी because of my unrequited love or my misfortune or my bad luck, right? So ये वसी शाह का एक शेर है, आई जो तेरी याद तो आँखें बरस पड़ी, आई जो तेरी याद तो आँखें बरस पड़ी, इस वक्त तेरे दर्द का दिल पर नज़ूल है. So by simple translation, when I started remembering you, my eyes started crying, right? This is the moment. This is the moment when my heart is facing this nuzul of pain, descent of pain. जैसे कि ऊपर से आसमान से मेरे ऊपर दर्द की बारिश हो रही है. This is it's almost as if pain and grief are raining on me from the heavens themselves and making my eyes cry. That's what happened when I remembered or thought of you. ये एक और दाग दहलवी का शेर है, कयामत बापा हो नज़ूल बला हो, यही आजकल रोज़ और शब चाहते हैं. So basically, by approximate translation, there should be Qayamat, by extension the judgment day or the end of times, right? And there should be misfortunes and calamities. I want a nazul of the final day, misfortunes, calamities, right? This is what my heart earns these days, day and night. So your love, or the lack thereof, has brought me to a place where all I wish for is the worst. Let the judgment day come. Let the ultimate judgment be. Let there be calamities raining from the sky. Let there be misfortunes raining from the sky. All day and night I want to be in this perpetual state of grief and pain. And then this one by अथर नफीस, उस शब का नज़ूल हो रहा है जिस शब की सहर ना मिल सकेगी. Now this one comes a little close to the share which we are discussing. So approximate translation is, right now there is a nuzul or descent of a night, of such a night that will never see its morning, that will never reach its morning. So you can understand it however you want to, but basically either the night is going to be so long because it is spent in separation from your beloved that it will seem as if there is no end to it, or you as an unrequited as a lover who has unrequited love will not survive the night. सो अगेन दे विल बी नो मॉर्निंग. सो बहुत प्यारी तरह ये शेर लिखा गया है कि उस शब का नज़ूल हो रहा है जिस शब की सहर ना मिल सकेगी. दे विल बी नो मॉर्निंग. एंड देन द लास्ट वन, मोहम्मद अली साहिल, राइट. तू अगर बाअसूल हो जाए, तू अगर बाअसूल हो जाए, रहमतों का नज़ूल हो जाए. So this is the only share where नज़ूल is actually used in its positive connotation. So approximate translation is, तू अगर बाअसूल हो जाए, if you start playing fair, and of course it's the beloved who is being addressed here, if you start playing fair, रहमतों का नज़ूल हो जाए. There would be a नज़ूल, there would be a descent, there would be a rain of blessings on me. So basically, if you are fair and square and you respond to my love with your love, then it would be as if blessings themselves are raining from the heavens above on me. So just keep that in mind, the context of Nuzul, and you will be able to enjoy the first line more than if we were to just simply translate it. Let's get into the second line. आज उधर ही को रहेगा दीदाए अख्तर खुला. Udhar, there, by extension idhar, here. So Ghalib is here and udhar is the rest of the world, right? So आज उधर ही को रहेगा दीदाए अख्तर खुला. So दीदाए अख्तर, eyes of the star, sight of the star, by extension the blessings of the star. And Akhtar is a star, but it's not any normal star, right? So if you get into it a little, you will see that Akhtar are these stars which are used by astrologers and astronomers to do their calculations for prediction. So these are not your run-of-the-mill stars. These are those benchmarks. These are those baselines in the sky which form the foundation of the entire science and logic and deduction and calculation behind practices of astronomy and astrology. So Urdu में कुछ words हैं, अख्तर शुमार. So अख्तर शुमार is an astrologer जो कि सितारों का calculation करके आपको, who will give you a prediction. अख्तर शुमार is an astrologer. And then अख्तर शनास, again somebody जो कि figure out, somebody who will figure out the stars and the planets and give you a calculation, a deduction, a prediction. And then lastly Akhtar Shanasi. So Shanasi, so somebody who practices astrology, right? So the science of astrology or astronomy. So all this to say that this is not your typical stars. These are the stars who have the power to impact and influence your fortune, your misfortune, coming events, and things like that. So again, important to know that what is Ghalib referring to. So when he says that today Akhtar is going to look the other way, is going to look there. So what by extension he's saying is Akhtar, the star of fortune, is not going to look my way today. So ये रात तो भारी कटेगी, ये रात भारी कटेगी. एंड कितनी प्यारी तरीके से अपने ऑप्शंस एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, एक के बाद एक ऑप्शन, और रियलाइज़ कर रहे हैं कि ये ऑप्शन भी अवेलेबल नहीं है. पहली बात तो ये रात में गम ना होता, वो ऑप्शन तो अवेलेबल ही नहीं है, थैंक्स टू द बिलवेड. दूसरा, अगर गम है तो कम से कम रात में तारे होते, लाइट होती, वो फिनोमेना ही मैं देख के अपने दिल को थोड़ी तसल्ली दे देता. वो भी नहीं है, और तारे नहीं हैं, सारे तारे नहीं हैं, पर वो तारा, एक तारा जिससे किस्मत जुड़ी हुई है, अगर वो ही मेरी तरफ देख लेता और मेरी तरफ अपनी रहमो करम की नज़र कर देता तो शायद ये रात बेहतर हो जाती, शायद ये रात सहने लायक हो जाती, सहने भर की तो मिल जाती मुझे ताकत, वो भी नहीं. So he is running out of options one by one, and very beautifully in his own style is taking the reader through his disappointment as one after the other option becomes unavailable. All right, that was a sad one. Let's move on to the next one. क्या रहूं गुर्बत में खुश जब हो हवादिस का ये हाल, नामा लाता है वतन से नामाबार अक्सर खुला. So let's do a quick approximate translation. So gurbat is some kind of poverty, lack, loss, destitution. Sometimes you can also, by extension, call it a state where you are not in your space, the space where you are safe and secure homeland. You're not at the home base. You are dislodged from your home base, from your roots, from your native place, and are seated and are stationed somewhere alien, somewhere foreign, somewhere where you are not supposed to be, but are forced to be. So just keep that extended meaning in mind as we go through this Sher. So क्यों रहूं गुर्बत में खुश? Why, and by extension how, can I be happy in this state of gurbat, in this state of alienation almost, right? Alienation from anything that is positive, secure, stable, happy, peaceful. जब हो हवादिस का ये हाल. Now हवादिस by translation means accidents, misfortunes, calamities. बिल्कुल वो नज़ूल, बलाओं का नज़ूल, right? Same connotation to hawadis. So hawadis is also this continuous string of misfortunes, calamities, bad luck, accidents, losses. And यहाँ पर you have to appreciate the beauty of the continuity. So बुरा तो सबके साथ होता है, एक्सीडेंट्स तो सबके साथ होते हैं, लॉस तो सबके साथ होता है. एवरीबडी नाउ एंड देन विल फेस अ कैलामिटी, विल फेस अ मिसफॉर्च्यून, बट दिस कंटिन्यूस स्ट्रिंग विद नो रिस्पाइट, ब्रेक नहीं मिलता, यू नो, दैट इज another level of misfortune, when it's just one after the other. Usually we survive because there is a break between the two. So दो दुखों के बीच में एक खुशी होती है, बीते हुए दुख का मरहम बनती है, आने वाले दुख की ताकत बनती है. वो खुशी बीच में बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है. अगर वो मिसिंग है और एक के बाद एक मिलता जाता तो ब्रेक ही नहीं मिलता इंसान को. बिल्कुल वैसा एक पैटर्न गालिब की इस गज़ल में, इन 3 शेरों में बहुत ज़्यादा ऑब्वियस है, बहुत ज़्यादा ऑब्वियस है. सो जब हो हवादिस का ये हाल, अब क्या है वो हवादिस? नामा लाता है वतन से. नामा इज़ लेटर, वतन इज़ योर होम टाउन, home country, native place. Namabar aksar khula. Namabar is the mailman. Khula is open. So Ghalib is saying there is just no scenario where I can be happy in this alienated state when the string of misfortunes are such that every time there is a letter or a mail for me, it is open. So that's the approximate translation. Now we will unpack it and get into, the layers, the so-called layers of it. So सबसे पहले हवादिस का थोड़ा लेट्स गो इनटू दैट बाय लेन, राइट. हवादिस का थोड़ा कॉन्टेक्स्ट सेट करते हैं. सो लेट्स गो थ्रू अ फ्यू शेयर्स. एक जिगर मुरादाबादी का शेर है, एक दिल है और तूफ़ान हवादिस ए जिगर, एक शीशा है कि हर पत्थर से टकराता हूँ मैं. So what approximate translation is that I have but one heart, right? I have but one heart, and then there is this storm of hawadis, storm of calamities and misfortunes and accidents. Almost seems as if my heart is a mirror, and there are these multiple millions of stones coming at it with such force. So beautiful share, right? If you visualize it, how will the heart survive? How will the heart survive? How will a mirror survive? A slew of a million stones hurled at it with great speed. Then there's this second share by Sayyid Sadiq Hussain. तू समझता है हवादिस है सताने के लिए, ये हुआ करता है ज़ाहिर आज़माने के लिए. Beautiful share. So approximate translation is, you think that hawadis, this slew of misfortunes and calamities, is meant to torture you. But the fact is that this is meant to test your mettle, test your courage, make you strong. And then another one from Jigar Muradabadi, बर के हवादिस अल्लाह अल्लाह झूम रही है शाखे नशेमन. So bark is lightning. We have covered it in some of the ghazals as a word. So bar ke hawadis, the lightning of calamities and misfortunes. Oh my God, Allah Allah, oh my God. Jhoom rahi hai shaakhe nasheman. That little branch with that little tiny nest is just going crazy in this thunderstorm and lightning. Will it survive? Now that's up to the reader to understand. But yeah, oh God, just look at this little nest. What do you think is going to happen to this nest on this little branch if you are to send this thunder and lightning of calamities and misfortune? So hawadis, again, like I said, नज़ूल जैसा ही इसका भी temperament है. It is a continuous downpour of something, and in this case something negative, something that is going to result in loss, death, ending, destruction. Moving on to the next line, नामा लाता है वतन से नामा बार अक्सर खुला. So yeah, when I was doing my research, I did come across a very slight reference. So I cannot give you a lot of details around it, but I did come across a slight reference to this old tradition in olden times where if the letter had some bad news, it was never sealed. It was sent open. Now, what was the rationale behind it? I have no idea. I can only speculate that बुरी खबर थी तो जल्दी पहुंचनी चाहिए थी. किसी की बीमारी की खबर है, किसी की डेथ की खबर है, कोई क्रिटिकल चीज़ है. तार शायद होते नहीं थे, टेलीग्राम्स तब शायद होते नहीं थे. So maybe it was kept open that whoever gets a chance to read it, if in your ability, please let the recipient know as soon as possible. Or secondly, it might just be, sometimes we get a lot of mail and we don't open it, right, for days. So to avoid that kind of delay, which in olden times used to be substantial, right? Because there was no other communication. It was just mails or letters. If you receive a letter with open, which is open, you know it is something urgent, right? Symbolically, you know it is something urgent, and you get to it immediately and not keep it pending. So those are some logical reasons that come to mind. But like I said, I have no way to either confirm the fact that this tradition existed, nor do I have a way to confirm what was the logic behind it. But one thing which during research I came across was, of course, postal censorship, and we are well aware of this, right? That many countries during wartime or during time of political unrest, etc., would put in place this postal censorship, wherein there were centers set up, and these centers would go through your mails or your letters, and it was not supposed to be done on the sly. The recipient would become well aware that their letter was stopped midway, opened by some officer, read, and then sent on to them, right? So अगर ये बात रखें तो one can probably make a slight connection, because Ghalib, for a good amount of his living years, was in this political scenario where Britishers were ruling India, and there was this transition of power happening, and those times were very troubled, those times were very chaotic politically, and probably this was something being done during those times, and that's why he's bringing it up. Because why is Ghalib bringing it up? Why is he so specifically bringing up the fact that he does get letters, but all of them are open? All of them are open. And he's connecting that to his state of misfortunes and calamities. So probably there was a lot of mail coming to him. Ghalib had his own set of fans, etc., but they were all open, just symbolizing the fact that either they had bad news, or the political scenario was such that, there was a lot of unrest, etc., and these mails were getting opened as part of that. So, like I said, no way to be sure what the reason was, but Ghalib definitely wants to connect these open letters with a background around him that was full of misfortunes and calamities and distress. Okay, अब लास्ट शेर मक्ता. उसकी उम्मत में हूँ मैं, मेरे रहें क्यों काम बंद, वास्ते जिस शह के गालिब गुम्बदे बेदर खुला. बहुत प्यारा शेर है, and we will spend some time on it. So basically, before we get into the शेर, वो जो पहले दो शेर थे, right, there is a lot of Ghalib sucks you into this abyss of perpetual string and slew of misfortunes and calamities, right? And then suddenly इस शेर में, इससे पहले कि गज़ल ख़त्म हो, एकदम एक ray of sunshine, ray of hope. So ऐसा लगता था गालिब पहले अपने साथ बैठ के अपने दुख में इंडल्ज करते थे, अपने को संतावना देते थे. He used to be his own solace in his own time of sorrow. And he used to take his time about his pain. And then he used to switch sides and be his own motivation, where he would now indulge in the hope and optimism. And ये चीज़ I did cover in the introduction episode, so आपको time मिले तो go through that episode, where I do get into a little detail about how Ghalib makes you swing from eternal abyss to eternal optimism. स्टाइल था उनका. एक ही गज़ल में, दो शेरों में, you will swing from one side to the extreme other side. So उसकी उम्मत में मैं हूँ. Let's do approximate translation. उम्मत is following, and usually it was used to describe a collective which was that of followers or disciples. So उसकी उम्मत में हूँ मैं. I am part of the following. मेरे रहें क्यों काम बंद. I am part of a following. Why should my projects, why should my deliverables, why should my actions get stuck or sabotaged? And whose following is he talking about? वास्ते जिस शह के. So यहाँ पर there is a typo. It's not Sher, it is Shah. So वास्ते जिस शाह के, and Shah is of course emperor. वास्ते जिस शाह के गालिब गुम्बदे बेदर खुला. गुम्बदे बेदर is a dome with no door. So by extension, Ghalib is saying, I am part of the following of an emperor for whom a dome without a door opened. Therefore, why should I worry? Why should I worry that my projects, my work, my dreams, my actions will not reach fulfillment? After all, I am the follower of someone who has made miracles happen. तो मेरे ये जो रोज़मर्रा के काम है ये तो करा ही देगा वो. Right? So beautifully, a very unique style of saying, मैं तो उससे मांगता हूँ जिससे सब मांगते हैं. Right? I follow God, and my God does miracles. So for him, these few things that I want in life, very few, will not be difficult. It will be an easy task. He will grant me those things. Now, the other thing which came across to me in this Sher was वास्ते जिस शाह के गुम्बदे बेदर खुला. So there is a background story to this, right? अब आपने जैसे हम लोगों ने उस शेर में क्या अंधेरी है शबे गम. In this Sher we are talking all about descent, something coming from heaven down to earth, right? We said Nazul al-Quran, right? The descent of Quran from heaven to earth. In this Sher, it is all about ascent. And I think, am I understanding it like this? With my limited understanding, if I can figure this out, clearly that's how Ghalib probably meant it to be, right? कि इस शेर में मैं बात करूँगा चीज़ों की जो आसमान से ज़मीन पे आती हैं, और फिर इस शेर में बात करूँगा उन चीज़ों की जो ज़मीन से आसमान में गई हैं. सो अ डिसेंट एंड असेंट का एक बड़ा अच्छा कॉन्ट्रास्ट एक ही गज़ल में किया है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. And like I said, DGMZ here, the spirit of the podcast is our personal impressions. So they might not be accurate, they might not be complete. That's how it is coming across to us. So talking about this Shah, जिसके लिए गुम्बदे बेदर खुला, there's a story behind this. And this is one of the most talked about ascents in Islam. जैसे it's one of the most famous ascent, right? So कहा जाता है that there was this journey that Prophet Muhammad did, and his journey it is called Al-Isra wal-Miraj. Al-Isra wal-Miraj. In Islam, it is believed that the ultimate miracle was the descent of Quran from heaven to earth. And that Ghalib covers in that Sher, Kyun Andheri Hai Shab-e-Gam, right? And the second or a very close contender to the ultimate miracle, or the second biggest miracle in Islam, is this unique unexplained phenomena of the journey of Al-Isra wal-Miraj, right? So there is evidence of this journey in Quran, in their chapter 17 verse 1. It's called Surah Isra. And then there is some additional evidence about this journey in the Hadith, which are these literary corpus of reported sayings of Muhammad. So this journey is split into two. This journey was taken by Prophet Muhammad. It was split into two. The first part of the journey is Isra, and the second part of the journey is Miraj. So just a brief background to this journey. This event took place when the Prophet was facing a time of intense pain and hardship, as well as personal grief, because he had lost his beloved wife, Hazrat Khadija, and his beloved uncle, Abu Talib. It is believed that the Prophet travelled to Taif, which is a city near Makkah, to spread the teachings of Islam. And it is said that in this city he was denounced when he tried to teach the people faith in that town. The town rejected him. And to top it all, they sent out their youngsters to actually torture Prophet Muhammad, pelt him with stones. And he took refuge in a palm tree shelter. So that is the background of this journey. Now, in the first part of the journey, which is known as Isra. Now, Isra literally means nocturnal journey. And in this context, it refers to the night journey or transportation of Prophet Muhammad from his place of birth, Mecca, to the furthest mosque of Aqsa in Jerusalem. Now, what is believed is that Prophet Muhammad was staying at his cousin's place and he was sleeping. And there were three angels that came to him. They woke him up and proceeded to take him to Kaaba. And there in Kaaba, his heart was washed with the water of Zamzam, which is considered to be the holy water in Islam. And it was done so that his heart could be pure and ready to bear the immense burden of the journey he was going to undertake. Now, for this journey, he rode a horse called Burak. And Burak was what transferred Prophet Muhammad to the Masjid in Aqsa in Jerusalem. Now, in the second part of the journey, Prophet Muhammad was transferred to the presence of Allah in heaven. Now, what happened was Gabriel, or this angel is also called Jibreel, took Prophet Muhammad through all the seven heavens. And on every level of heaven, he met a prophet who had been there before him, right? So first he met Adam, then he met John the Baptist, Jesus, Joseph, Idris, Aaron, Moses, and lastly, Abraham. He also visited the paradise. He also visited the hell. And then lastly, he proceeded to meet Allah, and there Allah gave him the reward of the 5 prayers, which are cornerstone of Islam, and also showed him his manifestation. Allah showed him his manifestation in all the might, power, and majesty. And after completing this journey, Prophet Muhammad was transferred back to Mecca and was found in his bed in the same state that he left. So, this miracle or this two-part journey is cornerstone of Islam. And it is said, the first part, like I said, is Isra, which means nocturnal journey done in the night. And the second part is known as Miraj. Now, Miraj, when literally translated, means a ladder. So, there was a ladder that came down from the heavens to earth, which Prophet Muhammad ascended to reach heaven. So, when Ghalib talks about Gumbad-e-Bedar, a dome without a door, he is, to the best of my understanding, talking about Prophet Muhammad and his ascent in heaven. We know heaven has no doors. There is no entrance. You enter heaven when you are invited. You enter heaven when you are invited. And when you are invited, there will be a way that will be shown to you, which you can walk on and enter. But heaven is not a place where there is a door you can knock and you can just go in. So, Prophet Muhammad's journey is symbolic of him going to a place where no one can go, of him going to a place and having a place open to him where that place never opens to anyone. It's a closed place. Nobody can enter it, and that place doesn't open up to anyone. But via this miracle, Prophet Muhammad not only traveled to that place, the place opened to him. He went inside the place, went to all its levels, saw the great manifestation of Allah, and then came back. So this indeed is a miracle. So the story just helps us to understand what Ghalib is referring to, right? So Ghalib is referring to this miraculous ability of Prophet Muhammad, whom he follows, to go to places one can never go, to open doors where no doors exist, to make things happen which can never happen. And then Ghalib goes on to say that I am part of the following of such a person. I am part of his community, Prophet Muhammad's community. And that is why should things not work out for me? Why will things not work out for me? They will work out for me. They will work out for me sooner or later. They will work out for me because I'm part of this community. This community which is led by a person for whom Gumbad-e-Bedar khulaa, for whom the dome without the door opened to invite him in. So, yeah, that's a beautiful place to end it, right? That, yes, I am on earth, and from what I see, tonight is a long night. It is a night with no respite. But at the end of the day, the fact remains, my hope remains intact, because if everything else fails, this fact stays true and stands the test of time, that I belong to a God who can make anything happen, who can make everything happen. That's a beautiful note to end the ghazal on. So I do hope you enjoyed this ghazal. When I was doing my research, there was this Jimmy Ruffin song that came to mind. What becomes of the broken-hearted? Of course, a lot of artists have sang this song, and there are different versions. But I will definitely post a link for you to enjoy it if you're interested. In addition, I found these lovely paintings. So, like I said, this journey of Miraj and Isra, they are mentioned in Quran, but they are also mentioned in Hadith and lot of other scriptures and documents and poetry and literature. So there are some paintings in Nizam Ghaznavi's collection, which I found online. So I will put those links also, just in case you are curious. All of this in the description box. So always check the description box, because if there is any additional information, any additional link, anything that I think will add to the enjoyment of you tuning into the video, I put it all in the description box. So next time we will get into Ghazal 15. And if you enjoyed listening to this episode or the other 2 episodes of this Ghazal, humble request, please click like, feel free to comment, feel free to share it with someone who would enjoy it. And till the next episode, everyone, lots of love and light to all of you. Thanks for watching.